Classical stock making is one of those things that we learn at catering college when we're training to become a chef. However, it takes a long time to build up all that flavor. There is another method, and it's super quick and gets a ton of umami and flavor, and that is the dashi, a Japanese style of stock making. I'm going to show you 2 ways how to make it today and a little surprise dish that we're going to make for lunch with one of them. So stick around for this video. It's going to be plenty knowledge for you to boost up those flavors. Right, let's go.
So you get kombu, this is what it looks like in various dried sheets. Now that white stuff on top is not mold, that is an amino acid called glutamine. Do not wipe it off. Can wipe off any dirt, but this is natural MSG. That's where all the umami flavor comes from. This other type of kombu is a little bit more expensive, but very delicious indeed. More on that later on. You get that one sheet, make a couple of cuts so that you can break it a bit easily. And then we're just gonna put it into this jug with 3 dried shiitake mushrooms. You can get all of this in most supermarkets. Fill this up with some cold water, about 1 liter, cover it, leave it for 3 to 4 hours, and that is basically your first very simple dashi. Label it, of course, a smiley face is optional. Right, now we've left that for about 3 to 4 hours. Going to take off the cling film. You can see the seaweed has rehydrated, and so has the shiitake mushrooms. Now all we're going to do is set those mushrooms aside, drain this off with the kombu in a clean pan, get it on your stove, and we're going to very gently bring this up to the boil. Should take about 7 to 10 minutes. You can skim off any impurities as you go. Don't aggressively boil this. A dashi is about being gentle and coaxing out those flavors. You don't want to go too aggressive. You can see I'm just skimming off the impurities as it goes. Now it's just come up to the boil. Take out that kombu. You can reuse this. I'm going to skim that. I've turned off the heat now, and then just pass it through a sieve lined with kitchen paper just to catch any dirt or impurities left over. And there you have a very super simple, a vegan dashi that you can use as a base for soups and all kinds of stuff. That'll keep for about a week in the fridge. Now for the other dashi, you're going to need 20 grams of this other type of kelp, which is really nice. Just crack that in half. It's got a lovely smell to it. And then we're going to need some katsuobushi, which is basically skipjack tuna, also known as bonito flakes. It's been dried over a long period of time, and then they shave it super thin. Look at that. It almost looks a bit like ham, like prosciutto. Absolutely delicious. You need about 20 grams of that in total. Now get your 20 grams of kombu, put it in a deep saucepan, add 1.5 liters of some fresh cold water, and then we're just going to leave that for about 30 minutes just to kind of hydrate, soften up, as you can see there, so it can plump and juicy. Get this on the stove, and then we're going to gently bring this up to a boil again, 7 to 10 minutes, skim off any impurities as you go. As soon as it comes up to the boil around the edges, add in your 20 grams of bonito flakes, turn off the heat and let it steep for about 5 to 7 minutes or so. Then all the flavor is going to be extracted out. Don't leave it in too long, like 10-20 minutes, because trust me, it ain't going to taste good. Okay, after the 7 minutes or so, 5 to 7 minutes, I'm going to take that off and then just strain it like before. You can use all the katsuobushi and the kind of kombu up again and make a second stock, or you can dry it out and make something called furikake with a few other different ingredients, which is a lovely little seasoning to put over rice. Okay, now give it a little taste. That is effing delicious. And we're going to make a quick little lunch so you can see what we can do with this. Now I'm just using some chicken goujons, bit of soy, a little bit of sesame oil, a little bit of ginger powder, a little bit of cayenne pepper, and then just a little bit of garlic powder. You can use whatever you want. You can even use tofu. You don't want to use meat. Mix that around, set that aside. And what goes really nice with this is soba noodles. Now these are delicious, but they're quite starchy. So what you want to do, separate them, cook them in some boiling water for about 4 minutes, and you can see all the starch has gone to the top. They're nice and soft. So all that starch we want to get rid of. That's why you don't want to drop it directly into your broth. Drain that, put it into some cold water just to stop the cooking process. Mix that around, make sure there's no starch, and then we're going to drain that and set that aside. Now this recipe is super open to whatever you have in your fridge. I've got some tender stem broccoli here. You can use any kind of green veg, even spinach. Cut off the stalks separately. I've got a selection of some mushrooms, some shimeji, and some lovely shiitake mushrooms, fresh ones. Super easy to prep, just cut off the bottom. When you've got your shiitakes like this, you just trim off that little bit there where they're growing from and just rip them in half or little pieces. That's it, simple. Okay, now your veg is prepped, chicken's prepped. Take some of that lovely dashi, ladle it into a pan, add about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. We're going to add in a little bit of mirin, about a tablespoon. So that'll give it a nice little back note. Some cooking sake, nice little splash of that, about a spoon. Going to add a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar for a bit of acidity, and some maple syrup for sweetness, about a tablespoon. Mix that around and just set it aside, and we're going to cook our chicken. Now, this is completely optional. but I'm going to use my lovely little griddled pan from Le Creuset, and I'm going to get it hot, put my chicken in, because I want some bar marks on this chicken. Why not? This isn't going to take long to cook. They're pretty small goujons, so maybe about 2-3 minutes each side. Once we've got markings on it, set it aside, and then we're going to get our dashi on the stove, bring it gently up to a simmer, add the broccoli, cook that for a minute or two, and look how crystal clear that dashi is. Delicious. Then we're going to add our mushrooms in. We're just going to put them straight in and cook them. To be fair, those shimijis look like magic mushrooms. Anyway, get them in. We're going to simmer that for about another minute, and then we're going to put our chicken in just to warm up, turn off the heat, set that aside, and then we're going to start plating up. Put your noodles into your bowl. Quite a nice bowl there, picked that up a while ago. Add the veg, add your chicken, and then pour over that lovely hot dashi to warm everything up. And for garnish, I'm going to finely slice the top of these Chinese leeks. They look a bit like overgrown spring onions. Really nice, actually. Quite nice little oniony garlic flavor. Give it a nice little fine little chop, and then put that on top, and you got a lovely banging lunch. Enjoy, my friends. Dashi is legit.
So there we have our 2 types of dashi, a really quick way to get a ton of flavor. You've got your vegetarian one here, basically vegan. So use this with tofu, some seaweed, things like that, classic. Bit of miso paste. But this one, with a little katsubushi, the bonito flakes, this gives a real nice kind of meaty umami flavor as well. With the chicken like this, marinated, it's still juicy. Get lovely little bar marks on it. Let's give that a taste. Such a good lunch. It's light, healthy, packed full of umami. See, traditional stock making, you have to go at it for hours and hours and hours. But with the dashi, you can make it pretty quick, and you can even get the instant powder. So you can just add water to it and you're done. So do not be intimidated about making this. It is fantastic. Use it as a base for all kinds of different flavors. Give this broth a taste. So soothing. The flavors are so clean. That's what I love about Japanese cuisine. It's just clean flavors. Super nice, couple of ingredients, and you just get tons of flavor. So yeah, dashi is amazing, and you can do all different types of flavors. So I highly recommend you trying this. Right, my friends, now you know how to make dashi. So if you like content like this, please consider subscribing, and I will catch you all on the next one. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your favorite type of dashi as well, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Ooh, so good. Cheers.